Morgan City Municipal Auditorium. This is the site of tonight's Morgan City Council Candidate Forum presented by the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce, and we will have candidates from 3 council races who will be participating in tonight's forum beginning at 5:30 p.m. with candidates running for District 2 Council, Jean-Paul Bourg and Bonnie Leonard. Also in District 3, incumbent Ronnie Bias, Marcelle B. Hoskins, and Julia Blaze Johnson. And in District 5, from 7:05 until 7:50, Eriq Blanchard and Louis Tamporello Jr. So they do have time slots where candidates will participate. So from 5:30 until 6:10, we will begin with Jean-Paul Bourg and Bonnie Leonard, followed by about a 5-minute intermission. Then the candidates from District 3 will participate, and followed by candidates in District 5 from 7:05 to 7:50. Our moderator is Ed Tiger Verdin. He is a board member of the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce and also with the Mayor's Office for the City of Franklin. Of course, the election will be held on Tuesday, November 5th. And we're about to get underway. We can also tell you that early voting will get underway on October 18th. And we're about set to begin with our moderator, Ed Tiger Verdin.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. All right, good evening. Thank you for attending tonight's Chamber Forum. My name is Ed Tiger Verdin, past chairman of the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce and your MC for tonight's forum. The purpose of the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce's political forums is to enlighten, educate, empower voters to make informative decisions at the polls. And I would like to remind all of you here tonight, that those watching online, that St. Mary Chamber of Commerce stands firm as an apolitical entity, giving all candidates equal opportunity and a platform to share information with the public and not showing support for any candidate over others. I ask that you, the audience, remain respectful of the moderator and candidates. And candidates, you please remain respectful of one another, our moderator, and our timekeeper. Please stand for our invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Please bow your heads as we pray. Loving God, bless all those gathered here today as we come together in friendship and fellowship. Thank you for the blessing of our individual and collective God-given talents. Place in our hearts the desire to make a difference within our families, in our community, and in our country. Give us balance and wisdom and help us to accomplish our goals respectfully and with integrity. Jesus, thank you for humbling yourself to walk alongside us as a man. Help our leaders be willing to walk alongside each other, their constituents, and especially the marginalized. Our leaders may have different opinions and priorities. Give them the insight to navigate those differences and work together to strengthen our parish and region. Remind us in this election year that you have called Christians to be one body. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. We will now begin tonight's forum with the candidates for City of Morgan City City Council, beginning with District 2. Those currently running council seats in District 2 are Mr. Jean-Paul Bourg and Ms. Bonnie Leonard. Thank you, candidates, for joining us and giving Morgan City the opportunity to hear from you. I will quickly go over our guidelines so we may begin. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to give their opening statement. As you see here in the front of the stage, we have our timekeeper, Ms. Tranisha Hayes. She will hold up a sign when there is 1 minute remaining, 30 seconds remaining, and when your time is done, she will ring a bell like so. Please be respectful of everyone's time in this evening. We will begin in alphabetical order. So we will begin with the 2-minute opening statement. Mr. Jean-Paul Bourg, will you please give your opening statement?
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank the Chamber for putting this event together. I'm Jean-Paul Bourg. 703rd Street has been my residence for the last 17 years. In 2001, I graduated from Morgan City High School, and in 2005, I received my bachelor's degree from LSU. I've been married to my wife, Christina Bourg, for 17 years, and we have 3 kids together that are in the 6th, 8th, and 10th grades. What makes me qualified to serve as your next city councilman is my 12 years of experience working in our municipal and our local government. My government experience started when I was hired under Mayor Mott, but spent the bulk of my 6 years with the city under Mayor Zaffi's administration as a public works and mosquito control supervisor. Also, while working for the city, I had the privilege of serving on the St. Mary Parish Consolidated Gravity Drainage District number 2 as the Secretary-Treasurer for 4 years. I was then hired by St. Mary Parish government as the Director of Public Works, where I helped create the mosquito control program. And my last year with the parish was serving as the Chief Administrative Officer. As councilman, my focus will be business retention and development, flood protection and drainage improvements, and recreational improvements for our adults and our youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bourg. Mrs. Leonard, please
Yes.
give us your opening statement.
Thank you. I'm Bonnie Leonard, District 2 Councilwoman. I'm grateful to the President, Councilman, and Mayor for their approval. I grew up in Jennings 34 years ago. I met and married my husband, Judge Ed Leonard, and became part of this wonderful city. Together we have 4 children and 5 grandchildren. I believe it is important for the citizens and voters to also have an understanding of our homeroom charter as it relates to the council. It provides that the council, the executive, is responsible for the proper management of the city. He appoints and oversees all department heads. The council, the legislative, approves a budget, appropriates money, adopts ordinances, and performs other functions in the charter. Because of the separations of power, the mayor cannot perform any function of the council, and the council cannot perform any functions of the mayor. The council cannot write or administer grants. We cannot administer any city contracts. We cannot direct any city workers in the performance of their work. The city was incorporated in 1860. I'm only the 6th woman to serve on the council and the first in over 20 years. I believe that I bring to the council a woman's perspective and ideas. I ask questions, study issues, cast independent votes on issues, deciding what I believe to be in the best interest of our city and its people. I will always be available to meet with you, listen to your ideas, and yes, your complaints. Thank you for your support and vote.
Thank you, Mrs. Leonard. The St. Mary Chamber of Commerce invited the public to submit questions in preparation for tonight's forum. I will pull at random 10 of those questions to be asked. If you need the question to be repeated at any time, please just ask. Each candidate will have the opportunity to first answer the question with a 1-minute time frame and then be allowed an additional 30-second rebuttal or comment. Again, each question will have 1 minute to respond and 30 seconds for a rebuttal or comment following the candidate's response if they choose so. When the bell rings, your allotted time is finished. We will rotate candidates for each question so each of you have the opportunity to respond first. Of course, beginning in alphabetical order. The first question will go to Mr. Bourg.
It's in the way.
All right. Good communication skills and an ability to work well with others is necessary for a board to operate well. Tell us why you believe that you have these qualities.
Well, I've served on multiple boards and commissions, and we've completed many large-scale projects during my time serving on those boards. And the only way you can complete those projects and get anything done is by getting, a consensus amongst the board and getting everybody on the same page and being willing to compromise and let everybody feel like they're getting what they're, what's important to them achieved in the decision-making process.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bourg. Mrs. Leonard.
Yes.
Good communication skills and an ability to work with others is necessary for a board to operate well. Tell us why you believe that you have these qualities. Your rebuttal.
Ooh. Well, and the question is good representation in the city? What
Good
was your
communication
question?
skills.
Good communications.
And ability to work with others is necessary for a board to operate well.
Okay. I think people like to hear from a board. They want to know what's going on. They want to know that someone cares, and I do. And as a woman, I know there's always not always a solution, but sometimes all they want is a friendly ear to listen to. Communication involves listening, sharing, having willingness to be there. And as a woman, I have that. I have worked well with the mayor and the council, listening and sharing. I do my research and make educated decisions.
Okay. Mr. Bourg, do you wish to make a comment? Okay. Ms. Leonard? All right. Question number 2. So, Ms. Leonard, you'll be first in this round.
Mm-hmm.
How do you plan to involve the citizens, your constituents, in decision-making while planning for a better future for our city?
Well, as I've been walking through the neighborhoods of District 2, I've met so many wonderful people. I've been able to talk to them, ask them what their problems are. They want to be heard. They want to know what's going on. And I can't always tell them as an individual councilwoman that I can serve their problems. But I promise them that I can take it up to someone else. And I always get back with them to let them know what I have done and who I've spoken to. I'm always available. I'm running to be a friend to the people, to help the people for no other reasons. And I have no further political agenda than to serve the people of Morgan City.
Okay, Mr. Bourg, how do you plan to involve the citizens, your constituents, in decision-making while planning for a better future for our city?
You need to be available and approachable. I've been on the other end of the situation where you're trying to reach out to council members or maybe somebody on the board, and either you can't get a hold of them or you feel like they've already made their decision. So you need to be open-minded, you need to be available, you need to be out in the community, you need to be active in the community, you need to be involved in what's going on and have a pulse on what's the heartbeat of the city, and so that you understand what people's frustrations are and issues that they may have.
Okay. Mrs. Leonard, do you care to add an additional comment or give a rebuttal?
No, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bourg? Okay, Mr. Bourg, you'll be next on this question. What do you see as the biggest issue facing the city of Morgan City, and what do you think should be done?
The biggest issue facing Morgan City, I believe, is a declining population. We need to have good paying jobs. We need to support our businesses so that the businesses will want to come here and invest and grow in Morgan City. We need to improve recreational amenities and entertainment options for our people so that they will want to stay here in our city for the youth and for everyone that's already living here.
Okay, Mrs. Leonard, what do you see as the biggest issue facing the city of Morgan City, and what do you think should be done?
Well, we're really a small town, and we have issues. Some of them are what to do with our children and how can we get them involved. But the council has just received word that we have received a grant from an individual, and next year we will be building a swimming pool and a spray park to get them involved in it. I think we need to look at possibly building or adding to maybe soccer fields, volleyballs. We have Shannon School that's available. We could use that to use for tournaments, for regional things. So we do have things available.
Mr. Bourg, any comment or rebuttal?
No, thank you.
All right, Mrs. Leonard, anything else?
It's good.
Okay. Question number 4. Mrs. Leonard, this starts with you. How do you plan to change the mass exodus happening in Morgan City? Our younger population is leaving, and that has to change.
Okay, this is a good one, so listen up. According to the latest U.S. Census, there has been no mass exodus from Morgan City. The last U.S. Census was 2120. We only lost slightly over 100 people. The number of electric bills that the city sends out has increased. So there must be people that are turning on electric bills, electric utilities somewhere, because our numbers don't lie. We have more kids than ever participating in sports, and according to parents, must be between 25 and 30 years old, or we would not have the young people playing sports.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Leonard. Mr. Bourg, how do you plan to change the mass exodus happening in Morgan City? Our younger population is leaving, and that has to change.
Well, we need to make sure we're supporting our businesses and encouraging expansion efforts with our businesses. Also always striving to improve our recreational amenities and entertainment options. People investing in the city as far as businesses, restaurants, things like that, to try to keep people here and have things that make them want to stay here. I mean, just for instance, I'm at Oceaneering, and I'm kind of like Miss Bonnie. It's not all negative. We were able to. A guy wanted to move back home, and graduated college, wanted to move back home, and I was able to offer him and hire him on with a good paying job, and brought him back to Morgan City, and got him an opportunity where he can grow and with the company, and stay here locally.
Mrs. Leonard, any comment or rebuttal?
Well, I'd like to reiterate that according to the census, we are not losing people. Sometimes rumors get started and people pick up on them, and it's easy to run with a rumor, but our utility bills just don't lie. I can't imagine somebody wanting to turn on utilities just for no reason. So we have people.
Mr. Bourg, anything further? If you don't mind, pull your microphone a little bit closer, Mr. Bourg. All right, that's fine. All right, thank you, candidates. That was question number 5. This is question number 5.
Okay.
So we're halfway there. All right, Mr. Bourg, back to you for this round. Do you feel that our city budget is where it needs to be?
So I have looked through the city budget, and I have experience, trying to help, balance and set government budgets, and it's always difficult. You have lots of requests coming in from all the department heads. They all need equipment. They all need, improvements to facilities, things like that. There's never enough money to accommodate all those requests. So I guess my role would be as a council member is to try to, assist the city in going after some state grants, capital outlay, federal grants, CDBG, to be able to get the big capital improvement type projects done, because the revenues of the city always can't accommodate everything that you need to try to get done.
All right, Mrs. Leonard,
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that our city budget is where it needs to be?
Our budget is proposed by the mayor and presented to the council for any changes and final adoptions if necessary. Our CFO, Deborah Garber, gives the council monthly updates on the budget. The council and administration have a duty to maintain the budget, and it is. The city has funds available in case of emergencies like our recent hurricane. We are currently under budget for this year, and we were under budget for the last 3 years. In 2023, we were under budget by $3 million. Tomorrow night, the council is being presented with the new budget, and we are not expecting any surprises.
All right, Mr. Bourg, any comment or rebuttal?
No.
Okay, Mrs. Leonard, anything further?
No, good, thank you.
Question number 6. All right, Mrs. Leonard, this is the first question for you.
Mhm.
What are your plans to support local businesses in Morgan City?
Okay.
So again, what are your plans to support local businesses in Morgan City?
Well, give me a second here. Well, to help the businesses, we have to get involved with them. We have to listen to them. We have to go to them. We have to find out what they want, what they need. If there's no communications, we can't help. If there are no people in town, we can't help. We have to keep our city clean. We have to do anything in our power to bring people in. We have to support the Chamber of Commerce. We have to support our economic development. These are the people that bring the businesses to town for us. And as a council member, it's our job to support them in any way possible.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Leonard. Mr. Bourg, what are your plans to support local businesses in Morgan City?
Well, as a local business owner myself, I truly understand the importance of having to support your local businesses, and we do the same. We do that by buying all our groceries from local businesses. We buy our supplies from local businesses. I feel like when you're a local business owner, you understand the importance of doing business with each other, and we do that. And so that's very important. I will continue to support our local businesses personally and professionally. I'll make myself available to any businesses if they're having issues with something or they think we're doing something that makes their lives more difficult. I would understand to work with them because I don't want to, make it harder to be a small business, local business owner in Morgan City.
Thank you. Mrs. Leonard, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, yes, I would. We have a new shopping center that's coming into town, been renovated. It's bringing new stores, bringing more people to the things. There's something called public-private partnerships. And this is how this project is being handled. We have a lot of buildings in town, and I would ask the owners to please rent or sell some of these businesses, and let's utilize the private-public partnership.
Okay. Mr. Bourg, any comment or rebuttal?
No, I agree. People need to invest in the city. We've invested with our restaurant. We opened a business 5 years ago with the restaurant. It's doing well. We also invest in real estate in the city, and I think, being an example and leading by example is the way you want people to kind of see what you're doing, and then they see that you can be successful with that. They try to do the same themselves, and that's what we encourage.
Okay, thank you. All right, question number 7. And Mr. Bourg, you start with this round. One complaint often shared is that there is nothing for the kids. How do you plan to change that or improve the outlook that there is more out there? I'll read it one more time. One complaint often shared is that there is nothing for the kids. How do you plan to change that or improve the outlook that there is more out there?
So to tag on to what Ms. Bonnie mentioned about the public pool, as I walk around and I talk to people, that's something that has also been brought up. They wish we still had our public pool. I worked at that public pool for many years, teaching lifeguarding, teaching swimming lessons. Many people have learned to swim in that public pool. So it's something I'm very passionate about, something that Lee said that they do have some funding to get done. And if I get on the council, I would definitely, be a proponent of making sure that that project gets pushed through and gets completed. The other thing that I would do is, when people say there's nothing going on, your community is what the people in the community make of it. So they can create activities, they can create leagues, they can create events. And all we need to do as the parish, as the city government, is to facilitate that, to give them, whatever they need, facilities, resources, to be able to hold those events.
All right. Thank you so much. Mrs. Leonard,
Mhm.
one complaint often shared is that there is nothing for the kids. How do you plan to change that or improve the outlook that there is more out there?
We have a very active recreation department, but its program and its resources are a little limited. But again, going back to the city owning the Shannon School property, it can house many, many activities. The gym could accommodate regional competitions. Basketball, volleyball, classrooms are available, band rooms available. We have so much at that school to offer, and I would propose that the city study independently or through a consultant formation of a multi-program recreation department. And in some sports, our participation by the children have absolutely doubled.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bourg, do you care to add a comment?
No, thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Leonard, anything further?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, question number 8. Mrs. Leonard, you'll be first in this round.
Mhm.
In your opinion, what ordinances need attention and possible updates or changes? So again, in your opinion, what ordinances need attention and possible updates or change?
Okay. Well, with the ordinances, we do need to work on it. I would propose to the mayor and the council that we review all of our ordinances to see if anything is necessary and what needs to be done. I think we need to review the planning and zoning ordinances, to review procedures for enforcement. I know those people are out there working on the problems, and sometimes their hands are tied because the ordinances restrict them from enforcing what needs to be done. So I think that would be a very good ordinance to start with.
All right, Mr. Bourg, in your opinion, what ordinances need attention and possible updates or change?
Well, in my experience, I've created ordinances, I've updated ordinances, and almost every ordinance, unless it's been looked at recently, needs to be updated or changed. That's the truth. Most of them are old ordinances, and they need updating. But I'll tell you, as city councilman, I'll work on any ordinance that's going to increase quality of life, business retention and development, beautification, those types of things. That'll be ordinances I would want to focus on first.
All right. Mrs. Leonard, back to you for additional comment.
I think all of our ordinances need to be looked at and restudied every so many years, and I think we're going to be in the process of doing that very shortly. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Bourg, any additional comment? All right. Question number 9. And Mr. Bourg, this begins with you. Why would you make a good representative on the city council?
Well, I'm approachable. I'm easy to talk to. I've got experience working for the city. I've got experience working for the parish. I've got experience working with some of the state levels. I've worked for the drainage district. I'm willing to talk to anybody about any of the issues that are in front of us, and I also still have some existing relationships with all these different levels of government. So I know who to talk to. I know who you need to call about certain issues. I understand how it works. There'll be no learning curve for me. I'll be able to hit the ground running.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bourg. All right, Mrs. Leonard, why would you make a good representative on the city council?
Well, first of all, I love this city and its people. I have the time, ability, desire to talk to people, listen to them, help with their issues they may have with the city. I'm not working at a job. I have no young family to take care of. Nothing to stop me from devoting time to the council. I'm a detailed person. I ask questions, find answers, look for solutions. My only reason for running for this office is to be the voice for the people. I have no other further ambitions, political ambitions, and all I want to do is work for the city and be the people's voice in here, as I am currently doing as the sitting councilwoman.
Mr. Bourg, any further comment? Okay. Mrs. Leonard?
Fine, thank you.
All right, final question. And Mrs. Leonard, you will begin this last round.
Mm-hmm.
What are your plans to improve roads, water, and drainage in Morgan City? So again, what are your plans to improve roads, water, and drainage in Morgan City?
We are currently building a state-of-the-art water plant. Construction has already begun on it, and we expect it to be up and running next year. We have a grant for $12 million to pay for this plant. $3 million of it will be paid back by the city, but because it's going to be such a state-of-the-art, we're saving money with chemicals and labor, so it's basically going to pay for itself. And we are continuing to work on the roads. They're completing repairs right now in the MacArthur area, and we continue to do it throughout the city. The repairs are being paid with a 0.3% royalty taxes, which the people have passed. And we're looking to receive a $6 million sewer improvement. And our drainage system collects the water, pumps to the system, but it is not the city's system.
Thank you, Mrs. Leonard. Mr. Bourg, what are your plans to improve roads, water, and drainage in Morgan City?
So the city does collect the 3/10 sales tax dollars, generates probably about $1 million a year for the city. So with that money, you could, if you wanted to use some of that money for match money to go after some bigger projects, you could do that. Similar to what they've done with the water sector funding they got for the water plant. But with the 3/10 dollars that we collect, you can use that for roads or drainage. So you could do your drainage improvements with that money. You could do your road improvements with that money. That's what I would focus on, and going after some additional grants to help with the bigger projects.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bourg. Mrs. Leonard, do you care to add an additional comment or
Well,
any rebuttal?
our 0.3% for the royalty tax that has been approved by a vote of the citizens does cover our road, drainage, and sidewalks, and we are going after the $6 million for our sewer plant.
Okay, Mr. Bourg, any further comment?
Yeah, so she did mention that it does include sidewalks. So I would encourage using some of that money to do sidewalk work throughout the city, and maybe look at that ordinance that requires the residents to pay for all the cost of the sidewalks, and maybe see if we can't get the city to be involved with that 3/10 money that we're paying for already to help fix some of our sidewalks.
All right, thank you. Thank you, candidates, for answering some of the questions submitted by the citizens of Morgan City. At this time, each candidate will have 2 minutes to summarize their candidacy. We will continue where we left off. Mr. Bourg, you have 2 minutes.
Well, first I want to thank Ms. Bonnie for agreeing to do the debate, and Tiger for being our moderator. My vision for Morgan City is what makes the city, I want the city to be a place where our kids and grandkids want to come and stay and raise their families like I chose to do. I want the city to be a place where businesses and residents want to invest their money. I want the city to be a place where tourists want to come and visit. I want the city to be a place where we have good dining and entertainment options. I want the city to be a place where both adults and kids have nice recreational options. I want the city to have affordable housing options because we have great drainage and levee systems. And finally, I want to be your next District 2 City Councilman so that I can use my experience to help make these things happen.
Thank you, Mr. Bourg. Mrs. Leonard,
Yes.
2 minutes.
Tonight, you have not heard me quoting numbers nor making promises. I'm here to let you know who I am and what I represent. You are going to be making your decision on who you want to represent you for the next 4 years. I'm offering myself as a person of integrity, one who has the best interests of our community. My children are all raised, and I'm not working at a job and have the time and energy to devote to you. I'm a very detailed person and will always ask questions before making decisions. As only the sixth woman to serve on the council since 1860 when Morgan City was incorporated, I feel that a woman brings a different perspective to the council and may be easier to approach. I'm an independent thinker. I take making decisions very seriously. You are elected not only for your district, but also for District 2, not only for your district, which is District 2, but all the people of Morgan City. You cannot be partial, but you must vote for what is best for the city and the people. Now, I would like to address the voters of District 2. You make the ultimate decision, and I ask for your continued support, but most of all your vote, so that I may continue to not only serve you, but also be your voice. I have no further agenda than to serve the people of Morgan City. I look forward to meeting you as I continue to walk District 2. I'm number 16 on your ballot, Bonnie Leonard. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Leonard. Again, thank you, candidates, for sharing with us a glimpse of each of your campaigns, stance, beliefs, and plans for Morgan City. Your candidacy is appreciated. Candidates, you are invited to mingle with the public after exiting the stage area in the concourse, but please be respectful as our District 3 forum will begin momentarily. District 3 candidates, please make your way to the stage as our District 2 candidates leave the stage. And please give us a second to get ready for the District 3 candidates.
And you're watching live coverage of tonight's Morgan City Council Candidate Forum. As you've been listening or watching the coverage of the District 2 candidates, Jean-Paul Bourg and Bonnie Leonard, they are now getting ready they are setting up for the next forum, which would be the District 3 candidates. That is going to be beginning in about 9 minutes. Reverend Ronnie Bias, who is the incumbent, Marcelle B. Hoskins, and Julia Blaze Johnson. They are the candidates in that race, and they're going to be speaking in just a few moments. And we'll stand by if you can just stay with us while they make the transition onto the podiums and get ready for the next round of questions.
One, two.
And as they make adjustments to microphones and to the podiums, we are getting ready now. We are getting ready now for the District 3 candidates to speak. Reverend Ronnie Bias, the incumbent, Marcelle Hoskins, Julia Blaze Johnson, and they're making some adjustments on the sound at this time. Which
Mic check.
All right, mic check, please.
Mic check.
1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. How many time, bro? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Marcelle, did you do yours?
Yes.
Did you hear that, Bill? Did you hear that, Bill? Yeah. Beth.
And again, thanks for joining us for tonight's coverage of the Morgan City Council Candidate Forum. As the District 3 candidates get ready to take the stage, this forum is scheduled to begin in about 6 minutes at 6:15. Sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce, St. Mary Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank them for sponsoring tonight's forum. Our moderator is Ed Tiger Verdin, past chairman of the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce, and he is with the Franklin Mayor's Office.
1, 2.
We've got some antics.
Come on. Good enough.
Reverend Ryan Bias, of course, being a minister, and Trinisha, our secretary with the Chamber of Commerce, is telling him to use his preacher voice.
1. 1. You hear that, Jonathan? You hear that? See, you gotta put his hand up. You can't hear.
I want to remind you that Election Day is set for Tuesday, November 5th.
Testing.
This election will coincide with the presidential election, congressional elections as well. Of course, Mayor Lee Dragna was re-elected without opposition. District 4 Councilman Steve Domingue and District 1 Councilman Tim Hemel, they were both elected without opposition. And early voting will begin on October 18th. So coming up on us before you know it. We've heard a lot about this election, especially on the presidential side, but it is fastly approaching. As a matter of fact, we only have 43 days left until Election Day. So early voting will begin in just under a month for this election.
1, 2.
And tonight, Ron Bias, the incumbent, will also be speaking with Marcelle B. Hoskins and the other challenger, Julia Blaze Johnson. And we are coming to you live from the Morgan City Municipal Auditorium. This event sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce. And thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. That anniversary wish.
1, 2.
Yes, my wife and I are celebrating our 19th anniversary today, and I appreciate that wish, Dave. Appreciate all of your support. And this forum is set to begin in 2 minutes at 6:15. I want to thank the Chamber President, Ms. Beth Chasson, and her assistant, Ms. Trinisha Hayes, all of their hard work for putting this on.
See if our media partners are ready out there. Okay, I got thumbs up. Howard, good. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being so patient with us while we had to get District 3 candidates straight. So we will now begin tonight's forum with the candidates for City of Morgan City's Council District 3. Those currently running council seats in District 3 are Ronnie Ron Bias, Marcelle B. Hoskins, and Julia Blaze Johnson. Thank you, candidates, for joining us and giving Morgan City the opportunity to hear from you. I will quickly go over our guidelines so we may begin. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to give their opening statement. As you see here in front of you, and in front of the stage, we have our timekeeper, Ms. Tranisha Hayes. She will hold up a sign when there is 1 minute remaining, 30 seconds remaining, and when your time is done, she will ring a bell like so. Please be respectful of everyone's time this evening. We will begin in alphabetical order. Reverend Bias, you may begin with your 2 minute opening statement.
I'm Reverend Ron Bias, City Councilman, District 3, City of Morgan City. I'm the son of Claiborne and Helen Bias. I was born 1/6/53. I'm married to Margaret Abel Bias, 2 children, 7 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren, and I'm expecting great-grand twins. Education, Sumter Williams, Morgan City High Schools. U.S. Army, served a tour of duty in Vietnam from 1970 to 1972, 1972 to 74. Pacific University General Studies, 86 to 90. Evangel Bible Institute, Monroe, Louisiana. Occupation, retired from the oil and gas industry after 40 years. Accolades: 1990 Citizen of the Year, St. Mary's CAA. 92 to 96 served as Vice President and President, Redress Chairman of the Morgan City NAACP. 1997 to Present, Founder and Senior Pastor of Vision of Life Ministries here in Morgan City, Louisiana. Elected to the Morgan City City Council in 2004. First pastor to be elected, first African American to serve as Mayor Pro Tem, still served in the capacity of City Councilman. 2008, helped to form the United Ministerial Alliance of St. Mary Parish. 2022, received the What Manner of Man Award, MLK Committee, Franklin, Louisiana. 2023, appointed to the SLCC Commission, also co-membership chairman of the 100 Black Men. 2023, assistant coach at Morgan City Junior High School. 2024, appointed director of the Morgan City Juneteenth Bike Ride Celebration.
All right, thank you, Reverend Bias. Mrs. Hoskins, 2 minutes, please.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Marcelle B. Hoskins. I am married to Anthony L. Hoskins for 16 years. I am a graduate of Morgan City High School. I have 4 children and I have 8 grandchildren. I am a member of Mount Arrow Baptist Church, Morgan City, Louisiana. My pastor is Reverend Norman and Sister Stovall. I am a lifelong member over at New Zora Baptist Church, where Pastor Reverend Terry L. Joseph and Sister Joseph is pastoring. I'm a lifelong resident here in Morgan City. I was born and raised in Ville Platte, Louisiana. I've been here for mostly all my life. And I'm a past employee of the City of Morgan City in administration. Also, I've been a past member of the Garden Club and the Beautification Committee as well. I've been on the Planning and Zoning Committee as well with the City of Morgan City. I want to embrace Morgan City to the fullest as we move along.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Hoskins. Ms. Johnson, 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Okay. My name is Julia Johnson, often referred to as Blaze, and I am the proud daughter of Augusta and Patricia Lagarde Johnson. Morgan City is a special place, and I'm passionate about the opportunity to collaborate with others to create something truly unique and inspiring for our community. Together with the resilient Mrs. Marcelle Brown Hoskins, we took action during the challenges the challenges posed by Hurricane Francine, setting aside our political differences to embody the spirit of America and American sisterhood. I am eager to work alongside leaders such as herself to foster progress and prosperity within our community. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge the Reverend Ron Bias. My decision to run for office stems from a desire to share my fresh perspective and contribute meaningfully to our already vibrant community.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Johnson. Thank you, candidates. The St. Mary Parish Chamber of Commerce invited the public to submit questions in preparation for this evening's forum. I will pull at random 7 of those questions to be asked. If you need the question to be repeated at any time, please just ask. Each candidate will have the opportunity to first answer the question with a 1-minute time frame and then be allowed an additional 30-second rebuttal or comment. Again, each candidate will have 1 minute to respond and 30 seconds for a rebuttal or comment. When the bell rings, your allotted time is finished. We will rotate candidates for each question, so each of you has the opportunity to respond first. Of course, beginning in alphabetical order, we will begin with Reverend Bias. The first question: do you have experience working on a board or council? If not, why do you think you should do this?
Simple. I've been the city councilman, city of Morgan City, simply elected in District 3 for the past 20 years. I have no problem working with my constituency, have no problem working with my fellow colleagues on the city council. Though we elected in 5 different districts, we still have one concern, and that's this municipality that we call the city of Morgan City.
Thank you, Reverend Bias. Ms. Hoskins, do you have experience working on a board or council? If not, why do you think you should do this?
Yes, I do have experience on working on a board, working with the Planning and Zoning Commission Committee and the Beautification Club, so I do have experience.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hoskins. Ms. Johnson, why do you have experience working on a board or council? If not, why do you think you should do this?
Currently, I serve for the city's culture and tourism. I serve on that board, so I do have experience in that aspect. But I would bring other relevant leadership experience, such as organizing community projects, and my background serving in local organizations. That gives me insight into the challenges the city faces and how to approach governance with a team mindset.
All right, thank you, Ms. Johnson. Reverend Bias, do you wish to make a further comment?
No.
Ms. Hoskins?
No, sir.
Ms. Johnson?
No.
Okay. All right, question number 2. And Ms. Hoskins, you're first in this round. What do you see as the biggest issue facing the city of Morgan City, and what do you think should be done?
Right now, we're facing flooding at this time. We need to work on getting better pumps for our areas. A lot of areas were flooded out due to the hurricane at this time. We need to work on jobs, more jobs in this area, and housing. There is a concern. I've asked throughout the community what are their issues. A lot of people were saying that there's nowhere for the children to go and have parties and embrace family-oriented restaurants and stuff. So.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hoskins.
Yes.
Ms. Johnson, what do you see as the biggest issue facing the city of Morgan City, and what do you think should be done?
Okay, the biggest issue is the aging infrastructure, particularly related to drainage and roads, which leads to flooding and damage. By securing additional funding, in which the city is already on top of that, and adopting a phased improvement plan, the city can tackle these issues without straining its budget. Another thing I'd like to point out, according to the statistics in our city, Education is something that we definitely need to focus on. We need to invest in workforce training and education. Only 10.66% of our residents have a bachelor's degree. Morgan City could benefit from partnerships with community colleges and vocational programs that focus on industries like manufacturing, healthcare, or information technology. So that's something that.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Reverend Bias.
I agree with both of these people up here, but I just want to kind of amend it a little bit. I think that the St. Mary Parish school system is doing the best that they can do with what they have. Also, the SLCC has offered programs that can enhance education. Flooding is not a problem. What we had here in this storm was 21, almost 22 inches of rain that fell in such a short period of time, the pumps couldn't keep up. And on that note, maybe some of the pumps are antiquated, but those are things that we would have to get to as we build a tax base. Let me repeat, not pass a tax, but build a tax base. How you do that? You get with your economic developers and other people to see if we can lure people into the city to do such.
Thank you, Reverend. Ms. Hoskins, do you care to add an additional comment or give a rebuttal?
No, sir.
Okay. Ms. Johnson?
No.
Okay. All right, question number 3. Ms. Johnson, you are first in this question. What are your plans to support local businesses in Morgan City? So what are your plans to support local businesses in Morgan City?
Okay, I would focus on creating more opportunities for local businesses. Simplifying licensing processes. I believe the city has already started this, and organizing additional events that promote local commerce. The revitalization of downtown, which Morgan City is already getting to. And tourism promotion, especially around Morgan City's oil and seafood industries, and also the creation of new industries, industries that could ultimately boost the economy.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Reverend Bias, what are your plans to support local businesses in Morgan City?
My plans are to continue to do what I've been doing for the last 20 years. Does it work all the time? No, it doesn't. But you got to work at it all the time. You got to check on the business people. You got to listen to them. You got to hear what they got to say. Sometimes they don't want to say anything, so you just think everything is good. And the thing about it is, you don't know what a business needs until they tell you what they need.
Okay, thank you, Reverend Bias. Ms. Hoskins, what are your plans to support local businesses in Morgan City?
Well, first of all, I support a lot of the local businesses at this time. I'm well known in the community. Everyone knows that I'm all over everywhere at all of businesses. I get phone calls all the time asking me, where can I find this, where can I find that? If I don't know where to find it, I will make calls to try and help out. I will do the best I can to work with them to be able to get what they need. Perfect example today, I was looking for a riser today to cut some trees down. I didn't know who to call, so I talked to the mayor. I asked him where would I be able to get that from. I went to Tiger Island. They were able to help me as well and assist me in that. So it's important to embrace one another in businesses, be able to keep your businesses local here in Morgan City so that we can all build, but you have to network. You have to network together for a better community.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Hoskins. Back to you, Ms. Johnson, for any comment or rebuttal.
None.
Okay. Reverend Bias?
No.
All right. All right, let's go to question number 4. Reverend Bias, we're going to begin with you. Let's see. Reverend Bias, what is your approach to handling controversial or complicated issues? So again, what is your approach to handling controversial or complicated issues?
Conflict resolution would be number 1. Conversation would be number 2. And most of the time you'll be surprised at the things that you can get resolved when you sit down and you hear what people got to say. Most of the time you'll find out once you listen to each other, even if you disagree, you can still come to a conclusion that will be positive for everybody.
All right, thank you, Reverend. Ms. Hoskins, what is your approach to handling controversial or complicated issues?
Communication is key. Work together to disagree or agree while still being able to collaborate our viewpoints. To find a common ground on issues is the major point in that area. If there's an issue, sit down, let's talk about it. We're all not going to agree to everything that we talk about, but let's find balance. It's all a part about balance.
Thank you, Ms. Hoskins.
Thank you.
Mrs. Johnson, what is your approach to handling controversial or complicated issues?
Okay. Personally, I believe in gathering as much information as possible, listening to all sides, and involving stakeholders in discussions. Clear, open communication and ensuring the public understands the issue at hand are vital to making sound decisions.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Reverend Bias, any comment or rebuttal?
No.
Ms. Hoskins?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you. All right. Question number 5. Ms. Hoskins, we go to you for this first round. So, Ms. Hoskins, how do you plan to change the mass exodus happening in Morgan City? Our younger population is leaving, and that has to change.
Well, we need more opportunities for economics and jobs, well-paying jobs as well. Maybe work on some type of public transportation, and embrace on different cultures throughout the community. Also supporting small businesses is very, very important. We have a lot of new businesses that are coming into the area. We need to embrace them and support them. We want to be able to have something for the children, families. Like, I know we have to go out of town in order to have fun and do some things at night. We want to be able to embrace that here in Morgan City as well. Have some nightly things for us to be able to do.
Thank you, Ms. Hoskins.
Thank you.
Ms. Johnson, how do you plan to change the mass exodus happening in Morgan City? Our younger population is leaving, and that has to change.
Okay. Well, as pointed out by Councilwoman of the 2nd District, I believe, she did make mention that we are not experiencing a mass exodus, but on the topic of retaining our younger people, we have to improve job opportunities, and to attract younger people, we need to improve the job opportunities through local business growth, enhancing recreational and entertainment options, and promoting affordable housing initiatives. We can make Morgan City a more attractive place for young people to stay, work, and raise families.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Reverend Bias, how do you plan to change the mass exodus happening in Morgan City?
That's something that I can't do by myself, Tiger, but I'm willing to work with, even work for any entity or anybody that has ideas that they're willing to bring to the table. And it's an old saying, we've talked about it long enough, so let's stop talking about it and let's be about it.
Thank you, Reverend Bias.
You're welcome.
Ms. Hoskins, any comment or rebuttal?
No, sir.
Ms. Johnson?
None.
Okay. All right, question number 6. And Ms. Johnson, you're first in this round.
Okay.
Why would you make a good representative on the city council?
Okay.
So again, why would you make a good representative on the city council?
Okay. Firstly, I bring a fresh perspective. My family has deep roots in the community, and I have a collaborative spirit. I'm dedicated to working for the betterment of Morgan City by listening to all residents and pushing for meaningful progress on key issues.
All right, thank you, Ms. Johnson. Reverend Bias, why would you make a good representative on the city council?
I've been on the city council since 2005, and I think my work speaks for itself.
All right, thank you, Reverend Bias.
You're welcome.
Ms. Hoskins, why would you make a good representative on the city council?
First of all, having been working at the city of Morgan City, I've experienced all the complaints for the entire city with no problems. Being able to have new plans and new ideas for our city, I want to be able to embrace those new ideas to our city.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hoskins. Ms. Johnson, would you like to add anything?
No.
All right. Reverend Bias, anything?
No.
All right. All right, we'll move on to the final question of tonight in your district. Let's see, question number 7. And Reverend Bias, we'll begin with you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that our city budget is where it needs to be? Again, do you feel that our city's budget is where it needs to be?
At this moment, I would say yes. And I would also say that we get a financial report from our CFO at every monthly meeting, Ms. Deborah Garber, who in my opinion does a fantastic job. And not only her, but all of our department heads, as far as I'm concerned, they do a great job. So in watching our pennies, as my grandmother used to say, I think they do a great job at that. And again, at this present moment, unless something changes drastically, I would have to say yes, I think the budget is where it should be.
Thank you, Reverend Bias.
You're welcome.
Ms. Hoskins, do you feel that our city budget is where it needs to be?
Well, at this time, I'm not sure. I'm not, affiliated as far as the budget goes, but I do know that we have a wonderful mayor who's dedicated at this time. There's a wonderful team on the council who's very, very dedicated. And I know that our mayor is doing the very best that he can, tireless hours, and he's wonderful with the budget, and also the council working with him. So I do believe that at this time, our budget is probably, stable at this time, but I did hear Ms. Bonnie say that, the budget is where it needs to be, and we're below that at this time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hoskins.
Thank you.
Mrs. Johnson, do you feel that our city budget is where it needs to be?
Okay, currently, from what I've gathered, yeah, I'd say they're on point. The city expects $62.4 million in revenue. That's up 33% from last year, and of course, as it was made mention, a large portion of this increase comes from grants aimed at water and natural gas infrastructure improvements. So, as the District 2 Councilwoman made mention, at the water plant upgrade, the city's going to use $4 million of that, of the grant, and they're applying for $7 million in additional funding, part of that loan being forgiven. So they'll ultimately get a $10 million upgrade with only $3.3 million from the city. So I believe they're being smart and strategic. And to summarize it, okay, thank you, sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
All right.
Reverend Bias, do you care to add a comment?
No.
Ms. Hoskins?
No.
Ms. Johnson, any further?
No.
All right. Thank you, candidates, for answering some of the questions submitted by the citizens of Morgan City. At this time, each candidate will have 2 minutes to summarize their candidacy. We will continue where we left off. Ms. Hoskins, you have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Being a resident of Morgan City has allowed me this opportunity to experience my community as a person. I want for District 3 to evolve in better opportunities for our up-and-coming generation, excuse me, along with our lifelong elders, making it safe for all of our residents to live in cleanliness while networking with other communities and with our businesses on new ideas for growth. Voting is so important to me at this time, I need your help to make this happen. Let's prosper as a whole while we move forward, working together, standing together with one another for a stronger community. And yes, I do need your vote, and that's for Marcelle Hoskins, number 18, District 3.
Thank you, Ms. Hoskins.
Thank you.
Mrs. Johnson, you have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
All right, I won't utilize the entire time slot. Julia Blaze Johnson, of course, number 19. And I am running to basically contribute all of my attributes to the people of Morgan City, the mayor and council, and just do what I do best, and that's cooperate and collaborate. So I'd like to thank everyone. God bless everybody. Out with the old and with the new, hopefully.
Yes.
So.
Thank you, Mrs. Johnson. Reverend Bias, you have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
I want to continue progress. And I want to say this while I'm saying that, before you accuse me of not doing, find out what I am doing. And if it's not enough, come, let's reason together. Also, let us pray for the victims of all of the mass shootings that we've had around the country. Let's pray for all of those that suffered losses during Hurricane Francine here in this municipality. Yes, I would like to enhance recreation, but some of those things are going to take a tax, pass a tax. Also, most of our kids, they're not interested in getting outside anymore. They got the PS5 joystick syndrome. So I don't know what you would do to make them come back outside. Also, the 100 Black Men of St. Mary has established a memorandum of understanding with the St. Mary Parish School System, where we have the STEM program, which has been a success for the last 2 summers. Continue to work with the department heads, see where we can or cannot get capital outlay to upgrade our antiquated infrastructure. Definitely change the home rule charter, because we got something going on right now in this race in District 3 that's illegal, so we need to address that. Continue to work with Elder Robinson at the Morgan City Housing Authority, and we wish all of you well in this race. God bless you, and continue to work.
Thank you, Reverend Bias.
You're welcome.
Again, thank you, candidates, for sharing with us a glimpse of each of your campaigns, stance, beliefs, and plans for Morgan City. Your candidacy is appreciated. Candidates, you are invited to mingle with the public after exiting the stage area in the concourse. Please be respectful, as our District 5 forum will begin momentarily. District 5 candidates, we ask that you make your way to the stage. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ty.
And once again, we want to thank you for joining us for tonight's forum here of the council candidates running for Morgan City Council. You just heard from the candidates running for Council District 3. And coming up next, of course, you heard from Ronnie, Ron Bias, Marcelle Hoskins, and Julia Blaze Johnson. And coming up next, we're going to hear from candidates running in District 5. That would include Eriq Blanchard and the incumbent, Louis Tamporello Jr. And as they are going to set up the podiums and get everything ready for the next round, if you can just stay tuned and as they get everything prepared. And once again, this election is going to be held on Tuesday, November 5th. That is the date of the presidential election. That is, of course, a federal election, congressional elections, and we've got 3 council elections in districts 2, 3, and 5. Of course, The incumbent coming up in District 5, Louis Tamporello, being challenged by Eriq Blanchard. In District 3, Reverend Ryan Bias, he was being challenged by, or is being challenged by Julia Blaze Johnson and Marcelle Hoskins. In District 2, right now, Miss Bonnie Leonard is serving in an interim basis as the previous candidate or previous councilman had resigned due to other job restraints obligations. And however, she is running as the incumbent, but she is the interim councilwoman. And so in council districts 1 and 4, that would be Steve Domain and Tim emailed that they were not challenged. Mayor Lee Dragna faced no opposition. Early voting will begin on October 18th, so stay tuned. So coming up next, the time says 7:05, but it will not be that long. We anticipate beginning in just a few more moments, so you won't have to wait till the 7:05 for this forum to begin between Eriq Blanchard and Louis Tamporello Jr., the incumbent, as we will begin shortly.
Check. 1 2 1 2 1 1 2. Turn down.
As they are making some adjustments to sound. We've just had some sound issues tonight, and they're trying to get those adjusted.
1.
And once again, tonight's forum is being sponsored by the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank Beth Chasson, our chamber president, and her assistant, Tranisha Hayes. They're doing such a great job coordinating this. The candidates are taking the stage, and we are about set to begin.
Test.
Think so. Hello.
Yeah. Timekeeper to come back, and then we'll get started.
I feel is avoidable. I own a business in Morgan City called Blanchard Family Properties where we flip houses in Morgan City. We try to better the housing market and the housing community in our own way, and that's our way of giving back to Morgan City. I'm strong on Parks and Recreation. I'm currently the president of that board, and I believe that we have to build our youth, and that starts now. Okay, so to do things that we've never done, you know, and to achieve things that we've never done, sometimes we have to take steps that we've never taken. We have to make risk. We have to take risk, and sometimes we need new leadership. And a younger generation has to step up and take hold. So that's why I'm offering myself as a candidate. I'm going to be a committed and determined leader in serving everyone in the city of Morgan City and District 5.
Thank you, Mr. Blanchard. Mr. Tamporello, please give us your opening statement.
Thank you, Tiger, and thank you, Beth and the Chamber and Teresa, for putting this on for us tonight so everybody in town can see it. I'm Louis Tamporello Jr. I've served as your councilman for the past 19 and a half years. I would like to take this opportunity to once again represent you in District 5 for the next 4 years. I'm married to the former Mary Bloom, Tamporello Mary Bloom, and we have 3 children, 8 grandchildren, and 3 stepchildren, step-grandkids. On the court, volleyball court, football field, baseball field, anytime, always got something to do. I'm a graduate of Central Catholic High School, Nichols State University, and where I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration with a minor in Management. I'm employed as a sales rep for Coastwater Electric. I'm a member of Sacred Heart Church, Morgan City Rotary Club, chairman of the Shrimp Festival, board of a Chapel Industrial Coalition, Chapel Colonels in St. Mary XL. I'm also a fundraiser chairman for Morgan City Tiger Boosters Club. I'm a former board member of St. Mary Industrial Group, Tesh Regional Board of Trustees, St. Mary Chamber of Commerce, Chapel River Coalition. As a resident of Morgan City, I've experienced both good and bad times in our city. My involvement in the above organizations allow me to contact many people, not only from our town, but also from all over the areas. Our Morgan City has many things to offer, such as waterways, tourism, airport, rail system, recreation, highway, and safe harbor. Sometimes we take all this for granted. Our future and our children's future will depend on the ability to promote our area. We must continue to develop Lake and Park, continue to work securely near here in Morgan City, and work on affordable housing, lower insurance rate, and recreation to continue to improve our much-needed hospital. We need to help promote our local businesses and entice more manufacturing jobs. And finally, we need to keep our 20-foot channel open, which will allow other vessels to come into town and bring economy.
Thank you, Mr. Tamporello. St. Mary Chamber of Commerce invited the public to submit questions in preparation to this evening's forum. I will pull at random 10 of those questions to be asked. If you need the question to be repeated at any time, please just ask. Each candidate will have the opportunity to first answer the question with a 1-minute time frame and then be allowed an additional 30-second rebuttal or comment. Again, each candidate will have 1 minute to respond and 30 seconds for a rebuttal or comment, following the candidate's response if they so choose. When the bell rings, your allotted time is finished. We will rotate candidates for each question, so each of you has the opportunity to respond first. Of course, beginning in alphabetical order, Mr. Blanchard, you will begin with the first question. Why would you make a good representative on the city council? Again, why would you make a good representative on the city council?
Okay, so one, being a younger and a newer generation, to be able to step up and start taking the reins and growing in a leadership position starting now, moving forward when the city needs to push forward, right? I'm a committed individual. I have a lot of drive. I have a lot of energy, and I'm one that wants to bring new ideas, fresh ideas into the city. But what I think we need is for younger people to step up and start to push, right? We can't continue to do the same things over and over and expect a different result. So what makes me a little different, right? I've served the community as a police officer for 8 years. I've been out in the streets hearing what the community says we need and taking those things into account. I want to be able to come out and drive to push for more things for our kids, such as the expansion of Lake and Park, our recreation, our baseball complex right here. We call it a complex, but it's hardly a complex. We really need to build upon that.
Thank you, Mr. Blanchard. Mr. Tamporello, why would you make a good representative on the city council?
Well, I'm serving my 5th term right now, about to finish up. That'll make 20 years on the city council. I hope that means I'm doing a good job and the people appreciate what we do. I'm a lifelong resident of Morgan City, and I love Morgan City. I'll do everything I can to promote this area and to keep our children here. As you heard before, I was involved and have been involved and still are involved in many civic groups around town and all, and I do my best to try and promote the area and stay involved and see people.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tamporello. Mr. Blanchard, do you wish to make a comment?
Sure, yeah. As a business owner in the city, for me to be on the council, we have what you call skin in the game. The growth of the city is important to me. My children growing up here is important to me, right? I am passion-packed about helping this city grow. This city built the man who I am today and has instilled things in me that has made me the husband and the father and the community lover that I am.
Mr. Tamporello, any response?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. All right. Second question, Mr. Tamporello, you'll be first this round. So, Mr. Tamporello, one complaint often shared is that there is nothing for the kids. How do you plan to change that or improve the outlook that there is more out there?
Well, that's a complaint that's been shared by many people, and I've heard it numerous times. But the city has been doing a lot to promote the recreation in this town. We've offered a lot more things. As Ms. Bonnie said, we do have one of the larger groups that have come out to play baseball and football and everything else. In the meantime, though, we need to promote and to look for things to give our youth things to do. We managed to keep the bowling alley, which had left, and thank goodness someone else picked it up. So there is things for people to do. We've lost the Lake Cinema, and but with the invention of Netflix and movies and things like that, you know, it's kind of hard to keep movie theaters open. So to support our existing businesses and programs and to share any ideas that you may have seen in other cities that may be able to be brought to our area is what we try to do.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tamporello. Mr. Blanchard, one complaint often shared is that there is nothing for the kids. How do you plan to change that or improve the outlook that there is more out there?
Right. So I think we need to have constant upgrades of our playgrounds around the city. You know, over time they can get dilapidated, like, you know, the one that's currently in District 5. You know, I can't bring my kids to play there because it is a hazard in certain areas. Now, so obviously upgrading that is paramount for me. 2, I want to stay committed to expanding at the lake. And there is no reason that our lake and park, that stretch along LA Highway 70, can't be like a mini Margaritaville. There is so much area there, and we've actually received some funding and grants. We've gotten $1.8 million that's going to be allocated to building out there. And the best part about the grant is it's a reoccurring grant. If we use that money, we get it again. So the time to start building these things is now.